How deprived would a nation be of power that has only seen superiority for an entire century? Since the U.S. has been a leading nation for decades, China is the only country that has escaped U.S. control. But why is the United States no longer able to contain China? Welcome back to another exciting episode of our channel. Innovation Diary brings you China's innovation stories, projects, and growing influence in different parts of the world. If you are new to the channel and enjoy learning about fast-paced modernity, especially China's development and growing power, you will definitely find our videos intriguing. In this video, we will discuss how the U.S. has gone from being the world's leading country to just a bitter rival of China. Let's get started. In ancient times, there has always been a nation with more power than any other. This nation used to be the world's leading country, both economically and militarily. And with the support of money and power, this nation used to control the world. All political matters were to be done how this powerful nation would prefer. But as humans are becoming more sophisticated, there is a need to eliminate a single power from the world. The power needs to be disturbed among all the countries. In today's world, nations are not willing to compromise on anything. Throughout the 20th century, the global dominance of the United States has been constant. It has been a military and economic power in the world. And these factors have led the U.S. to be the world's leading country. But it is common for nations to make a selfish decision that supports their locals but harms the other nation. And that's where other nations raise their voices and take power back. The same thing happened with the U.S. and China. The United States has always been very controlling. It influences many countries. The U.S. is a member of NATO, NASA, and many major authorities. Many countries are buried under the favors of the U.S. as well. And for that reason, the U.S. mostly ends up getting things done that it wants to. Before we continue further, tell us, are you loving the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel for more videos about China's development, power, and influence on the world. Let's continue now. If the U.S. does not want a country to be a part of a large partnership, it can do that. Just like it did with China and many other countries when they wanted to be a part of NASA. The U.S. can also stop trading with a country and seize its assets if it wants to. Just like it did with Russia after the Russia and Ukraine conflict. But things are quite different now. The U.S. might still be trying to get the lead in its hands, but it is no longer possible. The power is shifting. And the reason for this power shift is China. China has become a tough competition for the U.S. China has become a rival of the U.S. in many sectors. Its military is one of the most powerful militaries in the world. China's infrastructure is the best in the world. It's a huge consumer market as well as a huge manufacturer. Not only that, China's influence over the world is increasing as well. China is entering other countries through its Belt and Road Initiative. China has made railways, roads, and buildings for more than 150 countries. So, the question is, can the United States contain China today? To know if the U.S. can contain China, we need to look at China's profile. Firstly, China is a massive trader. It sends its products to every part of the world. Most of the goods have a Made in China label on them. China's exports in 2022 were around $306 billion. Some important goods include automobiles and solar panels. These are the products the world cannot survive without. Apart from that, China also imports a lot of products every year. In 2022, China exported goods worth $228 billion. The countries that trade with China rely on it for their economy. On the other hand, China's multiple projects are ongoing with many countries. China is the ultimate help for developing countries like Africa and Pakistan. It has done a lot of business with such countries, such as making ports, roads, homes, and railways. So, such countries can't leave China's hands. So, keeping China's reputation and influence in perspective, is the U.S. able to contain China? It does not seem possible. Because if the U.S. wants to gain its influence over the world and China, it needs to cut China's connection with the world, which is impossible. The U.S. must stop other countries from trading with China as it did with Russia. But, in China's case, no one is ready to stop trading with China. According to experts, cutting trade with China is a suicidal step for a nation's economy. If the United States forces other countries to stop trading with China, they will never do that. The U.S. has tried to put sanctions on China. The United States also wants to decouple China, but it is not quite possible. It's because the U.S. also has trading links with China. And if that ends, the U.S. will face destructive economic issues. According to an estimation, the U.S. would lose $500 billion from its GDP if it ends trade with China. But that's not the only problem. China is unstoppable in progress. If the U.S. finds a way to decouple China and put sanctions on it, China will still be able to keep progressing. A few years back, the U.S. did not let China enter NASA, but today China has its space station and is making a whole moon base. The U.S. has also attempted to stop China from winning the chip race. But it could not. So, the attempts to stop China are nothing but a waste of time. But what's stressing the U.S. is watching China becoming better. That's why there is always ongoing competition between China and the United States. The U.S. never wanted any nation to take the position the U.S. had in the past. But now, things seem to be out of control. So, the question is, what's the solution? How will both countries settle together? If a country wants to survive, it needs to maintain its relationships with all around the world. If a nation cuts its connection with others, it will suffer. The best example is the Russia and Ukraine conflict. The U.S. decided to help Ukraine, and this brought nothing but pain to the nation. The U.S. provided financial and military support to Ukraine. And now the U.S. economy is suffering. There is an energy crisis going on. On top of that, China and Russia's partnerships with other countries to de-dollarize the world has aggravated U.S. problems. China has the world's leading nations by its side. China is gaining the trust of OPEC, and this way, China will influence the energy market. China is trading in other currencies. And it is also investing massively in gold instead of the dollar. So, everything is sliding from the U.S.'s grip. Now the question is, what is the U.S. doing in this regard? According to the experts, the U.S. is even making the situation worse. If they want to stop China from becoming the first leading country, then they must work on themselves. All they are doing is practically stopping China from winning. It is a wrong approach to win the race. If the U.S. wants to win over China, it must work on itself. And instead of fighting, both countries must shake hands. The U.S. must understand that today, there is no possible way to impose influence on a country. If both countries shake hands, many new changes will be made to improve the world's economy and technology. Is the U.S. going to give up on its dream to compete with China? Why is the U.S. trying to let down a country knowing that it's not possible to do so? Will the anger ever be soon turning into peace? Comment right below in the comment section. Do you think we will witness war if the verbal fight continues? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing. Until the next video, stay tuned.